Anthony Hartwig here with a Ursuline softball player profile. I'm joined by Alyssa Sheely. Alyssa, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today and giving us a little bit of glimpse into this program this year.
Thanks for having me.
And here we go. I mean, into a year of Ursuline softball where a lot of people were kind of introduced to you guys last year. I mean, this program made a huge run. They lost a couple of key members of that team, but you come back with a lot of members as well. What's the feeling of this team kind of like, and what have you kind of sensed from this roster and how hungry they are to get back to where you were last year?
Really, the only difference that I think is, we have a new shortstop, we have a new third baseman, we don't have one of our better pitchers back. Obviously, like we miss Emily. Um, this year, we really just kind of want to get like vengeance almost for like what happened like last year. I know all the returners, we all feel like the same way. Like we want to win almost every single game and like win that state championship for the girls that we lost last year who are all now playing like college softball.
I mean, yeah, the way this season ended last year, I mean, it was really there was so much talent in this softball area, and you guys came up against another good team, and it was just one of those games. It just it was 3-2. It didn't go your way. How hungry has that made this team to kind of get back, like you said, and kind of get vengeance and try to get back to state this year?
I mean, this year we have put in, I think, more work than we ever have with like a new head coach who saw what happened last year. She felt like all the emotions we all felt. So I think with our new coach, Coach Christina, stepping into that, she knew how every single returner felt about it. So she kind of pushed us to really want this. We practice almost every day except Sundays, and at practices it's for 2 hours. It's go go go, just to get better at everything that we lacked last year.
And you bring up this new coach and Coach Dugan. Talk about what it's been like to kind of be under her and what kind of things that she's brought to this program and what kind of new perspective she's kind of given you guys.
One of the new things that we're definitely focusing on this year is kind of like a reset routine. We're really focusing on like the mental side of the game. Last year, she felt that we really lacked with that. So with her coming in, that's something that she's prioritized for us is like work on the mental side of the game. We do things at least every week, we do something new to try to like fix that and like work on that as like a team and individually.
Going into your mental toughness as a team, felt like last year, every game you guys played was almost a blowout. You only had a couple of close games the whole season. Didn't really get a chance to get that mental adversity and try to bounce back from things maybe not going your way for a couple of innings. You've already had that a couple of times this year. How can you tell kind of a mental difference in seeing the team kind of adjust mid game and deal with these adverse situations?
Um, One of the things is each player, we all have something different that like we like to do. For me personally, when something doesn't go my way, whether it's I miss a ball that I know I should have caught or I don't really get a good hit like I want, the thing that helps me the most is I go to Lainey. I go straight to Lainey or I go straight to Maddie. We talk about it, we laugh about it, and then like we move on, and it kind of just like it makes us think of something differently in a more positive way.
Perfect example. I mean, today your guys are playing West Branch and your guys playing Marlington Verse, and as the box score will say that you went over 5 against Marlington, but it won't say that all those at bats were quality at bats. You got yourself an RBI, you got yourself a couple of fielder's choice that moves runners over. I mean, do you kind of focus a lot more than maybe some other players about just getting a quality at bat and accepting that result? Even if you go like an 0 for 5, you look at yourself and say, I hit the ball hard, or hey, I got a quality at bat. I moved the runner over. I did what I was supposed to do for my team.
Yeah, the thing for me is as long as I'm helping the team in some way, if I'm moving runners, if I'm putting runners in scoring position, or if like I score a run, to me that's a win because that could be like the difference of the game. Like that run could be the run that like wins the game. So for me, like going 0 for 5 technically, yeah, like I wish I wouldn't have gone 0 for 5, but at the same time, it's I didn't hit bad. It just wasn't in my favor at that like at bat.
One of those times where the numbers can be kind of deceitful, as we all know in softball. Talk about kind of what your personal goals were this season, coming into yourself as a player and what you wanted to kind of accomplish for yourself.
For myself, I really wanted to beat my batting average that I set for myself last year. I set myself a really high expectation, but I think that as long as I keep working for it, like it's achievable. Another goal I set was I want to help like all the underclassmen like really understand like what Ursuline softball is about, and like kind of help them like build up their confidence and be comfortable to like play at any situation and like in any game.
Yeah, talk about some of the young players that are coming in, and we see players either coming in into the varsity level or stepping into bigger positions in the varsity level than they were in last year. What's it kind of been like for you guys that are returner leaders to kind of gel this team together and bring the younger players under your wing?
The one thing that personally I do is I make sure they know that like it's okay to make an error. It's okay to make a mistake, and no matter what, like we all have each other's back. I think the one thing that as a team that we do to help it is we kind of try to talk to each other in between each at bat, each pitch, and be like, hey, if they bunt, go to third base, or make sure you're covering the bag. And now we have wristbands this year, so it makes it a little bit easier for like the underclassmen who are just now playing. It makes it a little easier for them to like make sure they know what they do. But I really try to tell them like each time like where they should try to go and like where they should throw the ball.
Like always, this Ursuline schedule is just brutal. You guys can never say that you didn't test yourselves all season. I mean, talk about what it's like to go up against the teams that you get to go up against and try to stay confident through, like we said before, some adverse situations against some really good teams that keep popping up in your schedule.
I'm really excited for the teams that we're playing this year. We're playing a lot of teams that we've never played, especially the ones near Cleveland, Akron area. And I already know that those teams are really good. I know some of the girls that are on those teams, and I know how they play. So I'm really excited to go into those games because I think those games are going to be the ones that prepare us for when tournament time comes. And so far, we already scrimmaged two really good teams. We scrimmaged Boardman and Fitch, and it really kind of showed us like this is where we stand and things that we need to get better at to get to the next level.
You obviously play travel softball as well. Talk about how much that, by the way, talk about how much the travel game and being able to kind of expose yourself to even bigger competition in the travel game has really helped you grow yourself as a player.
Travel has not only done wonders for me competition wise, but like personality wise. I play on travel with girls from all over. I play with Sydney Mercer from West Branch. I play with all those girls. So when I get to play them in high school ball, I kind of know like what their like strengths are. So it helps me as a player. But when I get to play with them, like it's just a whole different experience. Like it's really fun.
I'm sure you're sharing some good scouting reports with your pitchers. Hey, play with Sid all season for summer. I know where your holes are. Try to pitch here, yada yada yada. So I'm sure there's some advantages there. Um, Talk about some of the things, some of the favorite memories that you've had with this Ursuline softball program, and when you leave the program, what are going to be some of the things that stick to your mind and you look back on when you're reflecting that were some of the best moments that you've had with your teammates.
My favorite moment that I have has probably been Myrtle Beach. That was my freshman year. I wish we could do that trip again, but because COVID, we couldn't. That's going to be the moment that sticks in my head the most. Not even for the softball side of it, but just for the team bonding that like we got to do and all the things that we got to do as a team. That's probably going to be the one that sticks to me the most. And all the new people that I've met. I've met a lot of new people who have different interests and everything. That's going to stick to me a lot too.
All right, so no Myrtle Beach trip, but there's also going to be a lot of things that you guys, I'm sure, do to keep building team chemistry and keep team bonding high. What are some of your favorite other team bonding experiences that the softball team does every year to kind of keep chemistry tight knit?
This year so far, we've done a team bowling, which was really interesting because none of us really ever just go bowling. So that was really fun for us to do. And she like selected our team, so we didn't get to select who we were with. So we got to like meet a lot of new people, especially the underclassmen who we didn't really know. So that one for me was really fun. And we do a ton of just like team dinners with everybody. We sit randomly, get to talk to more people.
Let's talk about team bowling because that's interesting. Do you have any like dead ringers that like, oh my gosh, they're good at bowling and we didn't even know it, or was everyone pretty like, oh man, they've never bowled before?
Oh no, Mia Opalek and
Oh,
Paige Ogden were surprisingly so good at bowling.
I mean, they're pitchers, of
Yeah.
course. They got that they got that motion down pat, right? Talk about some of the things that you do pregame to kind of get yourself ready for a game, and what are some of your pregame routines that you like to stick to?
Definitely for me is my hitting routine. I have to bunt first, then I have to go off tee, soft toss, and then we do wiffle front toss. That's something that like I need to do. My throwing partner, Ava Fedor and Laney, I have to throw with them before a game. It just feels right. If I don't throw with them, I feel like I'm just going to be completely off the whole game.
Would you put it at the level of that's a superstition, like we have to do this right now?
Yeah.
What about your pregame playlist? What kind of music gets you amped up for a game?
Um, the first song we listen to every single game or practice is Drive and Disconnect. I think that's like the big one that like we have to listen to. We listen to just like a bunch of different music. Sometimes there's rap, sometimes we listen to country. It's just kind of depending like what the mood is that day.
Got to talk to you about playing at YSU, and I mean, you guys are blessed to be call a college field your home. I mean, what's that like to kind of be able to step inside a college batter's box and look out and realize all the great players that get to play at YSU and get to call that their home, and you get to share that with them?
It's a really good experience. I personally, that's my favorite field to play on. I feel really comfortable there because I know how the ball bounces. I really like playing there, and I think that field's kind of going to prepare me for college since like I have already been in the setting for it.
All right, since you brought up the college, I mean, I don't want to take the moment away from you, so why don't you tell people like what the plans are for that?
I'm committed to Slippery Rock for softball, which I'm really excited for. I'll get to play with a former teammate, Julia Nutter, and I'll be majoring in biology.
How much did Julia Nutter being there kind of make that decision a little bit easier and say, okay, no matter what, when I go there, I have someone I know I'm familiar with, and I know that I can trust on that team?
Well, to me, her going there was like, oh, I have to go there because she went there.
Right.
It was kind of a bonus for me. I fell in love with the campus. I fell in love with the coaches, all the team, like all the teammates there. And her being there, it just provides like an extra sort of comfort for me because I'm so familiar with her.
It's been a long journey for you. You know, you've had some bumps. You've definitely, you can't go as far in this sport without having some adversity. Who have been some of your role models that have gotten you through the tough times that softball can bring you throughout their whole journey?
Definitely my dad. He has been my number one role model for since I've been playing softball. I've been looking up to him. He's been there for me through everything. From a student athlete's perspective, definitely Emily Holland. She was so good to me since I stepped into Ursuline. Like, she was one of the biggest role models that I've had.
One of the things I want to talk to you about before we let you go, because Ursuline, in all their athletics, not just softball, so good at reaching out to the community and doing community outreach and volunteering and things like that. For your perspective, what's so important to you about doing that and being able to put in those hours and show the community that supports you when you're on the field that you can support them too?
To me, it's super important because it's giving back. It's my whole life, my parents have taught me, like, it's the right thing to do to give back to others. You know, you never know what someone's going through. So, like, for me to go help somebody, it makes me feel really good about, like, myself that I was able to, like, help somebody else out.
Do you think doing that and being able to go out and help people that might be complete strangers helps you be a better leader to your teammates and be a servant leader to them?
Definitely. For the sole reason of usually follow by example. So if we show the underclassmen like this is like a good thing to do, it's going to help them carry on the legacy of teaching everyone who steps into the Ursuline softball program that this is something that we do.
What's been your favorite class at Ursuline throughout your high school career?
Ooh, definitely ceramics.
That's a first. That's a first. Okay, now you open up the door. What's your favorite thing that you've made in ceramics?
Well, I'm not really good at ceramics, and none of my projects are really good, but it's just a really fun class. But the favorite thing I've made so far was probably my mug. And the reason is a mug, like you're supposed to hold everything. And I was kind of having a little blonde moment and carved hearts into my mug. So now you really can't use the mug. But that's probably my favorite
It's gonna be
project.
a pencil holder, right? Could be a
Yeah.
pencil holder. Oh man, Alyssa, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. But before we do let you go, I gotta do one more thing. because with every player profile, we give the player the chance to kind of thank their support system as a whole. I know you talked about your dad, but I'm sure there are a lot of other people that have been there for you throughout your career. So I want to give you the chance to thank your support system and the people that are always there for you.
All right. I want to thank obviously my dad. I want to thank my mom, my grandparents, Coach Kernan and Coach Christina, and definitely all my friends.
All right, now we'll say, Alyssa, thank you so much for joining us today. Great to talk to you. Great to catch up with you. We wish you the best of luck the rest of this season, and we look forward to talking to you again real soon.
Thank